What's up, everyone? It's Rachel Lindsay, and if you love all things Bravo, then you need to be listening to Morally Corrupt. Every Tuesday and Friday, your favorite Ringer podcasters and I dive into Bravo's biggest moments and dish out hot and always unfiltered takes. And guess what? Now you can watch us too. That's right, Morally Corrupt is now available in video on Spotify. So whether you're listening in your family van or watching next to your white refrigerator, don't be all uncool and miss out. Catch new episodes every Tuesday and Friday only on the Ringer Reality TV feed.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. Please see below. Now, today we have the most special guest to me, probably the most important person in my life, and someone who actually is, like, by birth contractually obligated to like me because I'm his little sister. Welcome to the pod, Daris. Hello. Welcome to Please See Below, my brand new podcast, all about perfecting the art of oversharing. Here, we mention the unmentionables and talk about topics and things that no one wants to say out loud, but everyone is desperate to know.
Hey, everyone.
You're so happy to be here.
I'm thrilled. You have no idea.
What do you think about your little sister having a podcast?
I think it's interesting. I love podcasts. I'm not anti-podcast, so...
Do you like my podcast yet?
It was okay. Parts of it were...
What do you...
Parts of it were interesting, and other parts were good, too.
When I make dick jokes?
Yeah, I just, I know the shtick. I know the brand, so I've got it.
You think I'm doing a shtick?
Well, I hope.
I'm gonna say a lot of your mom jokes in this podcast. Like your mom's like, you mean with same mom. Okay, so but you've only seen episode the first one with Jason Tartik, the Bachelor Nation.
That is
hottie.
correct.
Okay.
I'm not judging though. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I saw one episode and I got it. I know what this is going to be about.
Was it like watching your sister on a date?
No, it was watching a version of you that is cool. It's fun. It's interesting.
It's like my fun side.
Yeah, I don't judge. Yeah. I'm happy for you and anything you do. So it's
okay,
cool.
You want to make this one serious? You want to go? I just throw the cards. I'm like,
let's
whatever. Talk about our childhood.
I mean, I did say
get the tissues.
I just don't know how interesting any of that stuff is. So I always want to keep people, interested in we don't need like our trauma out to the world. I don't know how much of it people can handle because it's pretty heavy.
Yeah, I mean, it keeps going, but we're gonna talk about all of that.
Are we? Okay.
Yeah,
a little bit,
sure.
maybe. Yeah.
A little bit. We'll dabble in trauma. It's my favorite. I feel like you just see right through me, so I don't even know if I want to do this.
I mean, I'm cool. Yeah, it's not uncomfortable for me.
Of course not.
Yeah, I mean the lighting's a little bright. I'm not used to being in a studio like this.
Yeah.
Look, when we were young, again, not to get into the whole trauma thing, remember, we had to go to psychiatrists or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I'm typically comfortable sitting in a chair. Like
under spotlights.
Yeah, I mean, figuratively or literally now, having people kind of analyze me or whatnot.
Do you think that's why I did the show?
Why you did the show?
Yeah.
No, I think you did the show because you... how do I say it? I mean, I think you did the show because you thought it'd be a good opportunity, right? For yourself, and I think
there's got to be something there because I used to watch reality TV and be like, I love watching it, but you have to be fucking crazy to go on. And then I did it, and I was like,
well, yeah. Think about though, you liked reality TV, but if you remember, I was telling you for a long time, like back in the LA days, that you should be in front of the camera. You were working at RPR, you were working at Edelman, and I couldn't comprehend why you were doing the other shit.
Yeah.
And I would tell you, like, be a YouTuber. Like, this is when YouTubing was,
I remember,
right?
Yeah.
And you were really kind of anti that for some reason.
Yeah, I thought it was so trashy. I thought, like, the dumbest people were influencers and creators, and I think because I had to work with all of them, and I just thought it was all bullshit. So I just thought reality TV, influencers, creators, any of this, I was like the average person that's like, okay, Kardashian. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, now
I enjoy the content, but I do also at the same time judge the people that would actually be willing to, like, go on a TV show and share their whole life and blow up their whole lives. I just thought they were idiots. I enjoyed it, but I thought they were idiots.
Right, and now now that's part of the struggle of this whole experience for you because you had that other side and that other experience.
Yeah.
And now in this world where you're on the other side of it, you still, again, number one, you pull back to that. like as like the
Right.
You know, you think about it with like everything that because you kind of want to be in control of all this stuff. So you got like the business side of it, and then you're also on the other side of it. So it's hard for you, I think, because I think a lot of folks don't have to do that. They've never had that experience on the other side, so they only know this side of it.
Right, and there's pros and cons. And like the pro is that I can redline my own contract for a partnership deal. The con is that I'm accused by my castmates of trying to produce a show.
Well, two things
You
though.
know.
Well, number one, first of all, just because the only reason I really wanted to come here is just to say one thing. It's like you'll like this.
Okay.
All the
Oh, you're gonna
comments,
say I'm scared.
all the comments about like your work and what you did. I, as your older brother, for 20 years, starting with your work in D.C., Edelman,
You're already gonna make me cry.
Los Angeles, back and forth you went. I've had to help you navigate all of those experiences, correct? And you've struggled and you've grinded. I was thinking about this in the shower. We came from absolute shit. We had a grandma who loved us, but we never had anyone help us with a down payment. We don't
Or
you know,
how to get a job or
how to get anything, how to manage finances, how to do anything. So, I mean, it's a wild thing that people can go on, and because you're fun and you're pretty and people like you, and then say somehow that you've never worked. What did you do? People have known you since you were 38 or 39 years old. You were doing 2 decades. That's funny. You've been doing. That makes me 23 because I look younger than you. You've been doing work and a bunch of hard bullshit work and grinding and struggling for 2 decades straight.
I know.
And I've helped you with some of it, with pitch decks for Johnson & Johnson.
You helped me with pitch decks behind the scenes.
So when you get the
help me
show,
all the time. You lent me $2,300 to buy my first car, so I could do a massive.
I thought it was $4,300. To make myself
No. It was a Mitsubishi Mirage.
Yeah.
And I was working at Edelman. I was only making $32,000 a year, living between 2.99 stores because I had to.
On Orange Street.
Yep, because I couldn't. I had to live near the office, and then I got a new job opportunity where I kind of basically lied on my resume.
In the Valley, yeah. That I helped you negotiate.
They helped me negotiate, and the salary jump was 3x. It was my first big salary jump, and I didn't want to. I was scared, didn't want to do it. And I couldn't even have a car, and you lent me the money to buy the car.
And then when the car broke down, you would drop me off at my job in LA and take it to the Valley to go work at that firm.
And then during lunch, we'd come back and swap and do all these things.
So it's just like, to me, you know, I just think it's wild when people. I get it though, because reality stuff is produced and whatnot, and it's a show.
And they didn't show me working once.
Well,
they filmed me once, and they were like, "This is boring," because it was me literally just on my computer on a Zoom call, and then all my clients, my skincare clients, the brands you buy at CVS, they're like, "Oh, sorry, honey, like so sweet, but no, we don't want to be on a show," because they didn't know what the show was, and it's reality TV, and these are like proper brands that like sponsor the Olympics.
Yeah.
So they don't want to be associated with or no. Yeah. They didn't know what it was. And I don't blame them, but. I can't help it if the show doesn't show me working.
Yeah, and not only that though, like
it just shows me like flirting with like size chef.
In terms of me showing up at 10 o'clock at night at one of your public relation firms. I don't want to name names or whatever because whatever. But when I'd show up and it'd be 9:30 or 10 o'clock and you're on Broadway or whatever in the 10th floor working at whatever office you worked at and you're on your spreadsheets and shit, or when you're making the pitch decks to go after these big brands that I helped you with, like. Not only did you work, but how efficient and good you are at working is insane. So again, for people to not understand that part of you and to know how much work you had to put in and literally only take this show because you were suddenly in the midst of this like in between in life, right? Yeah. You had left another tech startup, right?
Yeah.
And then you take this show. And then since you took the show, it became overwhelming in terms of like your time. So you weren't able to focus on all the work you had put in your career, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like what have you been doing since the show started? You've cut back on all your hours, right? Because
I was filming a TV show, so I had to get as a consultant.
And again, it's something you've never done.
Yeah.
And you're,
but also I didn't need to because when the show found me, I was in a position where I was taking a break for the first time in my life.
Yeah, and like as you know, we never. I don't do this because I want everyone to be happy and I wish the best for everyone.
I've never claimed to have a shit ton of money. I've never been like, I'm a billionaire. Here's
Yeah.
my Rolex. Here's my whatever. I'm like, look how small my diamond is compared to Jenna Lyons. I'm like, here's my rental apartment, 1 bedroom, where in Domino magazine you see a clothing rack in the bedroom. I've never claimed to be a millionaire. I just claim to like, I'm sorry that I'm a female who's 38, which by the way, if you're 38, you should probably have your shit together with your finances remotely. People are freaking out, especially old white men like Jeff Lewis, because I can pay my bills on time. I'm not claiming to be rich. I live in New York. I'm lucky and I'm blessed.
We laughed when we saw you.
And I just have rich friends.
Yeah,
like, because everyone in New York is rich.
We laughed when we saw your net worth online when you started this whole thing.
Yeah, I was like, I wish.
You know, you see like other celebrities.
But
like,
also, I'm not going to correct it.
Yeah, but also, I mean, like you said before, you certainly have. You've been in circles with people who do have influence. That's been your life. You've been in LA. You've been in New York. Not trying to climb social ladders. It's just who you are. You know, on the way in here, we talked about the first time you came to New York, right?
Yeah.
And you said you were just enamored and fascinated by the culture, the lifestyle, and this like the feel and sense of this city. And
I was on a Chinatown bus.
Yeah, on a bus, right?
And I came around in the New Jersey Turnpike, and I saw the skyline, and I was like, my eyes just like lit up, and I was like, this is it. I love it.
And like
I want
to
it.
think like that's part of your dream, and it's like a Great Gatsby type thing, right? Where like you want to be part of those circles and stuff, but not at the risk of like
not at the expense of my own integrity or anything
that's
like
exactly that. 2 people from Indiana and the conversations we have and the shit that we talk about and like how down to earth you are. For people to say that kind of shit about my older sister is part of my friendship. A younger sister.
You think Freudian slip?
Well, either though, right? I'll just say it a nicer way. It's wild.
Yeah.
Because I have to always realize.
What's the weirdest thing that you've seen? Like, because I know especially last season, I just didn't care. People were always telling me, "Oh my God, everyone's like loving you and this and that," and like I was like, "That's great," but like someone gave me really good advice before I started all this, and they were like, "Don't feel the good and don't feel the bad. When they like you, don't soak it up and let it go to your head.
You suck at that.
And when they hate
you're
it,
bad.
don't.
That's what you're struggling with the most.
No, but I didn't suck it up when people liked me. I just like come the rest of my life. I'm like, yeah, I know people have always liked me. People like me in life because I'm not an asshole. I'm not a bad person. I don't think bad thoughts of you. I'm not perfect, but I've never had people not like me.
Well, that also, but I was going to say,
some people, but
number
like,
one, like we're obviously crazy, like low key, but again, another thing that we've always been very like thoughtful about is not making claims about people and their mental health as an example when you don't know them, right? So like I think because the question you were asking me is like, the thing to me that's
what's
been
the most horrible thing you've seen about me on Reddit?
Well, I just don't like this notion that
me.
because
you told me to stay off
not
Reddit.
on Reddit. Well, I mean, I told you to stay off everything, but when I'm saying like this is what like it looks like someone who needs help or something. Yeah, we all need help, number one, but you're not some like, you're not some.
Yeah.
Yeah, you went through a lot this season based on a bunch of different stuff, and it was really hard on you. But I was the one on the phone with you for hours and hours after each of these different things, and you need support from people who know you and care about you. And I was going to tell you this before, and I told you this before. Like everyone in your life who was in your life before doesn't think any worse of you now.
Yeah. If anything,
they've all rallied behind you because they know
everyone is like, yeah.
They know
That's the craziest thing. People I haven't heard from years. They're like, what the fuck?
They know
is
who
that?
you really
They're
are.
like, dude, I've known you for 20 years.
Every name,
that's bullshit.
Again, because private in life, but like every name of the people we know, people we talked about in the car ride over, who you're on boats with, and exes, and everyone still loves you just the same, and they know who you still are. That's not to say you didn't struggle severely.
Yeah.
With all this stuff.
It's also not to say that I didn't fuck up and I'm not like that. I was
Bingo.
Was totally like just oh my God, poor me.
It's not woe is me because I'm super critical of.
You're very critical of me.
Of not just you, but of us as a family unit. Because you brought up this idea to me of what did I think when you told me originally you were going to do the show.
Yeah.
And you were with Gideon, right? And remember what you told me. You're like, I promise I won't embarrass.
I was scared to call you. So when I got when I got the cast on the show, I only did 3 Zoom interviews. I never went in person. Everyone said, "Oh no, like you have to go into 30 Rock. That's a must. You have to audition properly. You have to meet Andy in person or at least via Zoom. All these sort of things. Da da da." I had a 10-minute Zoom, then I had a 1-hour recorded Zoom, then I had a 30-minute Zoom, and then I got a call the next day. It's like, "Hi, we'd like you to be on the show." And I was like, "You're joking? Like, don't you want to meet me in person? What if I'm catfishing you? Like, what's going on?" They're like, "No. We saw enough.
Yeah.
Like, let's go." And I was like, I have to think about it. I don't know. It happened so quickly. And then I remember when I decided to do it, I remember I was bawling, crying when I signed the contract. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing right now, but I know it's going to lead me to other things that it's going to be another chapter, right?
And it's interesting.
It's interesting, and it has been interesting. It has been fun. It has brought me amazing opportunities. But you were the second person. Yeah, Gideon was in New York. I signed the contract in front of Gideon. Then we went up Upper East Side to like that Jean Georges restaurant. We're sitting outside and off of Madison, and we called you. And I remember I hadn't even told you that I was interviewing. I called you, and I was like, so I had like 2 glasses of wine. And I was like, so I'm going to do something. Right. I got a new job, and then it was a bunch of disclaimers. It was like, I promise that, like, I'm not going to fuck everything up. I promise that I'm not going to embarrass you. I promise I won't do anything crazy. Did you think I was going to, like, say, like, I'm going to post for Playboy? Like, because the way that I really sold it in was very, like, dun,
I know your jokes and shit, but I know you wouldn't do that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I trusted you. I'm just always worried about, or when you told me, I'm just literally only worried about, like, what effect or what toll it'll take on you.
Right.
I don't know any of that world, as you know, and I still don't, other than literally your episodes. I've never watched a reality show at all in my life, right? Yeah. Other than the ones that you send me to watch. And I just know, though, that a lot of those folks, struggle. Yeah. Based on, specifically when, again, it suddenly is thrust into their life. Now, again, we happen to be like mid-30s or whatever is better, 25, whatever you said. But but I'm saying, like, I just thought that part would be hard for you, and that was my only concern about it. I don't care. Like I told you before, I'm not worried about you. I know who you are, like I said, and as you know, and I don't want everyone to hate me either. But I told you if I could transfer whatever negativity that you have, people would say it about me instead.
I know. You offered. You're not even, my brother's not even on, like, Instagram. He's one of those guys. He's one of the good guys that's, like, not on Instagram, doesn't have a profile, doesn't care about social media, any of that stuff. And he's like, if you want me to, like, make a handle, like, with my name, he's like, I will go and answer every one of these comments and be like, you want to know what she does for a living? You want to know what's up?
Well, I just told you I would take your account and be like, it's my person. Not destroy, but I mean, if someone wants to say to me, like, fuck you, you're a piece of shit, you're this person, you have mental health problems, I'm like, cool, because I don't care, as you know. Yeah. And as I told you so many times, it's like, no one's going to say that to your face anyway, because, yeah, no, but look, it's super complicated with social media, and it's difficult, and as you know, I tell you to get off it as much as possible, but that's also part of the gig, you know. Yeah. But I think, as you know.
And sometimes I feel like, too, like, I don't know sometimes, especially this last season, what's reality and not, because I'm like, everyone else is like, so a lot of you've been asking, I just want to address this thing. And I'm like, no, you just feel the need to address it. I get it. I do, too. But I'm like, and then sometimes I think, is that what am I supposed to be doing that? Because I see other franchises and I see that they're, like, having these, like, Twitter wars and posting receipts and then screenshotting and posting the thing and then blah, 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 da, da, da. And then I see, and now it's so crazy watching everything from confessionals to Watch What Happens Live. And I have very much respect for certain housewives, because there's ones that fly at a certain radar and a certain altitude and handle it really well, where they manage to comment and share their opinion and be very genuine and real, but they're not, like, hurting someone. Garcelle in Beverly Hills is like, I watch back now her and I'm like, she's a master. Like, she's a master class of housewives. How to be a part of it, not be afraid, to jump in, to be real, to, but it's like constructive criticism, or it's an accurate read and a verified read, not just like, I'm here to try to fuck you up because I don't have a storyline myself. Like, so I'm watching it now back and I see, and I'm like, some of these people, I'm like, oh my God, like, you're not a good person.
But you're just talking about the show.
I'm talking about, it's hard with, like, reality versus reality of knowing, like, I'm like, sometimes with the comments or whatnot, like, so thank you for saying that you would do that. But the reason why I don't, right? Can I? Yes, I can be a verbal assassin. Like, we were raised Like, I
Sure.
don't like that part of me. I actually have worked
Yeah,
very
yeah.
hard to turn that off.
Me too,
My
yeah,
I
you know.
don't need to yell F you. Like, that's basic to me. I think actually they got one little bit this season where I just like, insult me smarter. You have the level of which I could not even say one swear word, one curse word, but just read you for filth in a second and you would hate your life.
And
Like,
it's not something you're proud of, probably.
no, it's actually, I think it's a bad weapon that I have
Yeah.
that I cultivated because of all the trauma, because of having to be on the defense, because of having to fight for everything in life, that I can do it. But it's not something that, and I think most people would use it and be like, oh, I'm going to make money off of this and get sound bites, whatever. I try to control my weapon of mass destruction. You know what I'm saying?
that,
Like,
but also,
I
like-
don't want to use it. I don't want to
but
be that
Brynn,
person. It doesn't feel good when I say those things
But
to people.
some evil dictator might use their weapon of mass destruction and they can sleep at night. But also, like you said, you have that. But we talked about, I mean, you say it in different ways. Like, yeah, you can do that, but you're also a very sensitive, emotional person who has
Very.
tons of feelings. And I think, like, that's another thing that people, I think, watching the show, knowing who you are, and as I mean, whatever. I think it's more like WWE, right? And like how it's produced. Sometimes I think there's like characters and whatnot.
Yeah.
But a lot of things, not the super dark or negative stuff. Even people are like, oh, I'm tired of her shtick or whatever. That's you. That's the version of Brynn who wants to have everyone like her and be a people pleaser, and that's that portion of you.
But it's also me, though.
Well,
I hate when people say, like, that's a shtick. It's not. Unfortunately, that's my personality.
Oh,
but
I'm
it's
saying.
my personality when I'm with my friends that I know, when I feel safe.
I'm
when
saying it's
having
not. I'm
fun.
saying it's not fake.
I get to let my guard
Right.
down. I don't have to think. I'm not afraid. And I just get to be dumb. I like to, like, get drunk and be dumb and say stupid shit and flirt with people. That's my true personality. I like to shut off and
that's
go
not-
there.
But I'm saying even like in your personality, we're the type who like likes to be at the dinner making everyone laugh and like
Yeah, I
being
want
silly and
people to
goofy
be
and
happy.
shit. But I'm saying I think my point is that like that sometimes then gets confused because people see you like giving shit and
Yeah.
things you should think are harmless, and then when someone says something back to you, because you're just doing it to be fun or have fun, right? And then someone's like, you're an evil, awful person, and you should go to hell because you said some gossipy thing, and you're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Because your motivation in those moments is just to be funny,
Yeah, I'm
even
like-
if it's like being mischievous or causing
Mischievous
problems.
is, yeah.
Yeah, but like
But-
again, the idea that you like this is I told you like my life sometimes too. Like the idea that we have some like manuals or huge binders and we're like calculating like how to get people to turn against each other, get people to not like each other. We don't think about any of that stuff.
No.
At the one way to say is like we don't care.
I literally don't care. I always, half the time I don't want to tell people, they're like, and then you tried to ruin this person's life. And I'm like, no offense, like don't flatter yourself. I don't think about any of you. Like I literally don't, like I like you.
Not in a bad way.
Not in a
yeah.
bad way, but like, and it's not maybe because I'm a great person. I'm so in my own head thinking about like my eyelash extension
Yeah, you are for
appointment
sure.
and like what I'm doing next. And like, is this guy going to text me back? And like, why am I not a mom yet? Or like, should I go on
But maybe-
Ozempic? Like I'm like thinking about a bunch of stuff.
But maybe
that's like not.
But maybe that
is- so
maybe we're so like flippant
I'm
about
not
that
like
kind of
sitting
shit.
in a dark room like
Yeah.
like plotting against
That's my point.
castmates. I don't have to be on the phone every day with you to feel like we're close.
But it's like the difference between Pepper and Sugar, your
My dog.
your two dogs.
Yeah.
It's just like I think that a lot of folks feel that idea that you just described, like I've put in the work, like I don't need to constantly go to the polo bar and I think a lot of folks do want that connection, and I think they do kind of
Yeah,
crave that kind of
yeah.
stuff. So I do think that I have to do a better job of doing that kind of stuff. Not for us because we don't need it, but
because other people need it.
because other
That's
people
a
need it.
massive point, and I do that in real life. But when then you're paranoid that when you're doing those things because they need it, and like, yeah, I want to meet you too, but then you're like, dude, I did that, and then you ended up like flipping it against me and using like it's creepy and it's scary. So
Yeah.
it makes you double think like everything, and I'm like, so yeah, I can do that, but it's very, very hard. Like, it's it's just hard.
the 2 seasons, and I think the highs of the first season and maybe the more lows in the second season after, and that experience. But I think it's common everywhere. Where do you stand currently? Which I don't think we've really discussed because my opinion on everything,
Yeah.
and what should happen.
You said never again.
Yeah, I think it's insanity, right? But you know, where
So
do
I'm
you stand
announcing
on
that I
that?
just signed up for a season. I'm joking. So on that note, actually, so I brought you here to tell you today. I know I promised I wouldn't, and I know you told me that to never do it again, but I'm actually gonna sign up. No, I'm just joking. I don't know. You know what? What I know is that I'm just trying to focus on myself and like where do I stand? I'm just trying to stand on my own 2 feet. You know, like I'm just in my own world. You know, I'm doing this pod, I'm doing Hoppy, I have the book, I have amazing brand partnerships, I have a whole team. Like, I'm good, you know, and I want to continue to be happy. I think to directly answer your question, yeah, sure. Would I love to do it again if I could go back to having fun and not feeling like these like I'm in like a CIA, like Lockheed Martin, like this everything's gonna get twisted that I said. I'll be accused of a bunch of shit I didn't do. I'm gonna be lied about.
Right.
I'm gonna have to watch scenes back where every single scene is about me, where people don't have storylines. So their storyline is that they think I'm a bad person. Like if all of that could go away and we could just go back to having fun.
You know, again, what I said at the beginning, very clearly, 2 or 3 years ago, when you explained some of the stuff that we had on the show, we filmed this really beautiful scene in Central Park as well, right? That they showed 10 seconds of, right? So there was no context to it. But also just in terms of like how upset you were, but in the moment when you first told me about that when I was in Korea on the phone and how upset you were and how I wasn't quite understanding based on our conversation, I was telling you something about a girl. And I kept thinking, why is my sister pushing back on what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm a good guy. She knows I'm a good guy. I didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
But you were like, I was like, huh, and I couldn't square it. And then finally you just came out with everything to me, right?
Yeah.
And again, so I've been on those calls with you as one of the first calls, if not the first call, and how upset you've been. So then when I hear when people come to someone then and say, no, we believe that it happened to you, it's like, I don't need you.
Honey, I experienced it. I don't need your belief system.
I don't need someone to tell me, oh, I trust that you're not lying about some horrific thing that happened to you. It's the definition of insanity.
It's crazy.
So I think, again, as your older brother, it's hard to trust any of that process when I see something as simple as that. I think is one of the most inappropriate things you can say to someone after they've come out and shared something.
And then it ends with a group hug of someone else.
Well, but I'm just saying in general, them just saying like, no, we do believe it happened. It's like, well, what do you say to that? Then, like you said, without looking like a crazy person, because if
you just sit there and you slump and you just wait.
Yeah, so
wait.
that really upset me, obviously, that it was
know.
handled that way.
So with Central Park, they filmed we filmed for like an hour, right? And even that scene, I didn't know if I was going to let them include it because I was told that I would have the right whether or not to include it. So at the beginning of the season, the first call that they do is like the catch-up call. And the catch-up call, and they sit there and say, okay, what's going on in your life? What's going on in your life? And one thing that they kept saying was like, so this year, the network really wants to see you dating. We have to show you dating. We have to show you dating. And, like last year I pushed it off. I'm like, well, none of that, which is true. Like, none of the guys that I date would ever want to be on the show. Like, that's cute, sweetie, but no thanks. They're like proper jobs and things. But then also I was like, also, you guys, I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I want to share this, but I don't want to keep putting you off because I feel like I'm lying to you. The real reason is because of this, because I still struggle with this thing that happened to me, and I struggle to get close with people, and I struggle to be vulnerable. So I am dating, but like it goes back and forth. And I'm like, but that's real. So I would actually appreciate if you guys wouldn't hammer me every week. Hey, did you do so-and-so? Hey, did you talk to so-and-so? Because actually that's kind of upsetting to me. They're like, oh my God. Okay, would you ever want to share it? And I was like, I don't know. Like, we'll see. And then you were in town, and then they were like, "Oh, we should do go back to Mimi's tree
right?
and talk about that." And then again, one of the everyone was so kind last year when I shared, okay, I'm grieving my mother. Look, and everyone has a mother or a grandmother people have grandmothers who raised them or their birth mothers that die. People die. Older people die. The real reason why I was so intrinsically upset is because I felt like I lost that last year with her because I became a shell of myself. I stopped talking to you. I stopped answering her calls.
All this stuff, right.
So I was like, I just want to be honest because it was so much too of like, I love that everyone's like, oh my God, you're so fun and sparky and whatever. I'm like, but that's not true. I'm not that. And I'm actually like, I overcompensate sometimes and I force myself in order to be fun and to power through things because that's like, I
Well, that's what I'm
don't
talking
lay
about,
in bed
though.
and
That's what we
cry.
were talking about
but,
earlier, yeah.
but I want to be honest about why
Sure.
I keep pushing off producers, but why I don't want you to dive into my dating life. And the real reason why every time that you ask me in a confessional share about Mimi, I start bawling, crying. I want to be honest. But then being honest, like, fucked me over. So maybe I should just go back to giggling and laughing.
Yeah,
because that was the only time that everyone else felt
Well, because again,
weren't threatened by me.
Well,
you know?
that also, but then again, people then think because you try to cope in your way and be gregarious and outgoing and affable and friendly and all this stuff, that when you get upset, that there's something wrong with you, that someone's having a breakdown. Then you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you have to either be in life sad all the time or happy all the time, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Because if you show two, then it's like, oh, this person is fake then. Because, yeah, of course, like you said, some of it is just coping and putting on. We all do it in our own way. Like I told you, I might be able to compartmentalize it a little bit better than other folks, and even including you.
You do
but
it better than I do.
But you've been through so much shit, and, it's like you're not allowed to have fun or be flirty or just try to cope with it in that way. But then you're also not allowed to get upset when people hurt you either, so it's it's really a hard box.
And then I'm penalized for when if I am okay. Well, let's just I'm not gonna. Well, one thing that I feel like I got penalized a lot with is it's really hard. Like I'm the type of person I'm an avoidant. I've told everyone I'm an avoidant. So if we get into a massive argument, I am not the first in 1 hour ready to talk to you.
Which I hate, yeah.
I'm just not. Maybe not even the next day. And I'm certainly not going to talk to you if you don't reach out to me, but you reach out to producers and a producer says, well, so-and-so wants to film with you tomorrow to talk about her screaming at you in front of your brother. And I'm like, she can call. And that's not, we are on a show. So that's not wrong of her, right? But it feels like, and this is where I mess up, it feels unnatural. I'm like, I actually got offended. So I would at least appreciate you asked me first and then we're like, okay, look, let's, but then that's not a reality TV show, right? And and then the audience get mad because they're like, oh, they made off camera and then they have to make up. But it's just when things feel real, I want you to reach out to me directly. And sometimes I need 48 hours to cool off.
For sure.
But in reality TV world, that doesn't work because we're on schedules, we're on whatever. And they're like, okay, so tomorrow you guys are going to talk about it and you make up then. And I'm like, but I don't want to. I'm still mad. It takes me a couple days to chill out. But I don't have the luxury of that because we're filming for a set period of time. So for an avoidant, reality TV is not. You're not. It's very.
Yeah, and you're. That's the thing. You're having a hard time
reality versus reality.
Working that out for you. And again, even with the comments, all this stuff. And I know you're not fixated on them, but I'm just saying I see that you're hurt by a lot of this stuff.
Of course. I'm hurt by every comment. I adore and respect, and I think people like Kim Kardashian these people are bulletproof, and they should run the CIA. Because for me, I read a comment and it hurts, and I don't care. People can say they're nothing, they're a peasant, they're a troll behind living in their mother's basement, and God knows where. Blah blah. It doesn't matter to me. When someone says something mean, I do read it, and it does hurt my feelings. It does. And it upsets me, and it upsets. Yeah, and it upsets my day and has a massive effect. And maybe that's the reason why I shouldn't be doing it, because I'm not this hardened princess that just wants it so bad and just wants to be on Bravo and wants to do these things. And I'm willing to take bullet after bullet from even small BB guns. I'm not. I'm a sensitive person.
Some people don't give a shit.
Some people don't give a shit, and I wish I was like that.
Yeah.
I wish I was like that.
Well, that's why I think it's hard. That's why I tell you not to do it. I think
I know.
It really takes a toll on you because you really do care, and other people you meet in life don't. Again, I'm not saying you're.
I wish I was like that.
Yeah,
they're badasses.
And again, I don't. I don't know exactly. Yeah, a lot of it though in life is about you just. Like what I told you before, also sometimes you got to toughen up, or I do think sometimes you chose to do this too. So it's always that thing too. It's it
was my choice. I made my bed.
Yeah, and so I'm worried that you're going to make the choice again to do this thing, even though I tell you not to, because you could be like yeah, but I think I don't know. So I don't want you to get addicted to it's
proving
it looks like a gambler,
exist.
They keep losing, but they get addicted to the loss too. So I just hope you figure it the hell out.
So I'm thinking that I want to host a contest because, wait, why do you think we're both single?
I mean, you're single because, for the same reason.
I'm interested in this answer.
No, I think we're because of our past trauma.
Yeah, childhood.
I think that's why. I think it's hard for us to make commitments to people. I think we're assume the worst is going to happen.
Yeah.
That nothing we want is going to.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to fight all that stuff. But yeah, I think.
Yeah.
And I also think I'm a very difficult person to deal with, like, long term. I mean, I'm like you. People are like, oh, you know, he's blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I used to be different too, obviously, right? But, like, even now, I like to be left alone, and I don't like putting up with people's shit, as you know. Like,
Yeah.
so I just think I think I'm, like, low-key can be an asshole sometimes, you know?
I don't think you're an asshole remotely. And I think that I have a little bit of, like, an interest now when I think about it. Not like, oh, who does my brother marry or who does my brother end up with, but how it affects me, right? Because it all comes back to me.
Yeah,
This
which
is
is
my
why I never
future-
introduce anyone to you. Or anyone else.
This is my future sister-in-law, someone I'm gonna have to spend time with. I'm gonna be an aunt to, so she can't be like a bitch and she can't be like boring. So maybe
Well,
I
maybe
should
boring, but look,
maybe I should have a contest, and like just I could find you a wife by having a contest, like who wants to be my next sister-in-law.
sure. I mean, it takes work off my plate to find me a wife. I don't care. I mean, I don't have a ton of requirements. You know,
What are your requirements?
it sounds nuts. I just want someone who has their own life, and then we can come together and share life as well. But I cannot be like, I got to think about this shit. But I just can't. I just have to have someone who's not, someone who's really independent. You know,
Yeah.
who does their own stuff.
Same.
I
I like independent. I like
because
like
I am too.
non-needy people.
We grew up that way.
Yeah,
and
hyper-independent.
I need my own space and time, and I need someone to know that doesn't mean I don't love them. I need her to know that I still am going to be there, and I can just like show up and be there. But I also
Yeah.
need some time to like fuck off and do my own shit once in a while, and not in like in a bad shady way, but just like I need some alone time
You
or
time.
space.
You need some
I
you
really
time.
I like just being alone and thinking about shit. I
Yeah.
don't always need to be, you know me.
Yeah.
I literally
you're,
just
like,
tried to get out of.
you're
I'm
you're
trying to get
introverted.
out of. Yeah, I'm trying to get out of everything at all
You're
times.
trying to leave here immediately.
And I am, and I have to try my hardest to pretend that this stuff that I'd like to do stuff often. But as you know, you know me.
Yeah.
I don't, and you're really good about it because. So anyway, someone who can put up with my neuroticism, my eccentricities, and hopefully see some value in like me being a moderately intelligent person.
You're hyper intelligent. I know your IQ. Who is your favorite? So we talked about what I would like in my future sister-in-law. Out of my past boyfriends,
you
who
know
is
the
your
answer to
favorite?
this.
Good.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's not even a question. Yeah.
Are you and Gideon still friends?
Yes, we're friends. We talk once a month.
What do you guys
And you-
talk about?
Well, you know, a lot of shit really. Gideon and I talked for 4 hours a month ago. Because that's the thing. I told Gideon we can only talk.
What did I do a month ago?
No, I mean a lot of it. Again, I mean a lot of it is, you know, worried about you and shit with, you know, how this season affected you. Right, that was
Yeah.
a big concern.
Yeah.
And you know, Gideon just concerned about that shit too. And I actually told Gideon. He called me and he's like, I don't know what he said. You know, started with mate or whatever. You know,
Mate,
I love Gideon.
mate.
But I was like, I don't know. You get on the phone and call her. Like, I told her, like, whenever people reach out to me about you, I'm like, fucking call her. I don't,
Yeah.
like, you know, I used to do this with you, with Grandma, too. Grandma would call me when you were gone and I was in South Bend, right? And Grandma would be
All
like,
parents do that though. They call the one.
yeah, but I'm saying,
sibling
everyone's
that
like,
doesn't.
where's Brynn? What's Brynn? And I'm like, you know, like, even, but I shouldn't. But even with Grandma, I was like, call her. I don't, why am I the intermediary? Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. What do you want me to do? You know? So I talked to Gid. We try not to talk about you a ton. And I told you this too, though. Like,
Do you have to try hard, or does it come naturally?
I don't know what it comes. I think Gid, you know, obviously cares about you a lot, and I think, you know, you guys have a insane relationship, you know, in terms of like the complication and how interesting it is to me. And like when people ask me to define it, I was like, I don't know. But yeah, I love Gideon, and
I love him too. I think
I've
he's
never
great.
said a bad word about him because I think
He's the best guy in the world.
he's a really nice person.
Which is why people are like, what is the whatever? And I don't need to explain anything to
Yeah.
anyone. What it is to me is like, I just don't feel, aside from you in this world, there's no other man that like I feel like there's no, aside from you, like, who has my back. So
Yeah.
I'm just not in a position to like throw people away who love me as much as family.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just not. I don't have an extended family. We don't have a big extended family. We have each other. That's pretty much it. We have our nieces. And so that's it. So when you've been doing that for years, and that's why I'm friends, honestly, with a lot of my exes and their families, and I still get birthday cards from their moms, and if they're in lunch in town, we have lunch, because I see it in their eyes. These people love me. I'm not in the position to like a maternal or paternal or someone that's like, I'm just not in a position to be like, sorry, the romantic situation ended, so I can never talk to you anymore for the rest of my life. And no, if everyone's comfortable, as long as you're not married or it's inappropriate or someone's feelings are getting hurt, but if it's just like, hey, there's a mutual respect there and there's a friendship and there's so much like honor and love for what we did have. Again, I'm just not in a position to throw out like good people, like salt of the earth people. I won't. I don't care if you think it's weird because I fucked him in the past. Like, I don't care. He's
agree.
a great guy.
I literally would like.
And I want the best for him. And if he has this happily ever after, I would be happy for him. One day, if we have kids together, I'll be happy for both of us. I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller, but I just want the best for everyone. And I'm not gonna let people think I'm like, I'm not throwing away amazing quality people. There's few in this world. Since I was little, I can't remember a time when you didn't make me feel like you didn't care about me. I was actually thinking about this. I think you taught me manifestation. I remember we were driving in the blue car, in the Cadillac. No, not the Cadillac. Chevy Cavalier. Yeah. I think we were probably like, I was like 5 or 6. Yeah, man. So you were 7 or 8. Yeah. And we were driving the shitty car, and I remember it was freezing cold out, dead of winter. And Grandma would not put the heat on because it would heat would eat gas up, and we never had more than a quarter tank of gas, or we were always putting $3 in or $5 in. So I remember we were driving home, and it was freezing in the car, and she wouldn't put the heat on, so we were freezing in the back seat. And I remember you told me, you're like, just close your Brynn, because you couldn't really pronounce your B's. It was super cute. You're like,
that's wrong. It was R's.
Brynn. You would say Brynn. You were Bwynn's butter.
Brynn. Bogo King.
Bogo King.
Yeah. I had to fix that speech impediment.
Yeah. Grandma, let's go to Bogo King.
Because I was schooling people out on the recess in basketball, but then they were going to send me to a speech therapist, remember?
Yeah.
So I was like, that's not going to work.
But
so
I remember
I'm like, Burger King.
I eat burgers at Burger King. No, you're like,
I'd be in the mirror and I'd be like, Whopper. Big Mac on that. But just real quick, this is stupid, but this is a really funny story. I remember I went to the first day and she was showing me pictures and it was like sky and sun and all this
with
S-word
the speech
shit.
Therapist?
Yeah, the speech therapist. And she's like, like I was nailing all the S words, right? And she looks at me. I swear to God on Grandma. She goes, "Oh, you must be the R boy."
Oh my God.
And I was like,
sounds a little racist also.
And that's funny. And I was like, that's funny. And I was like, yeah, I'm the R boy. But like, yeah, she called me the R boy.
Damn.
Wild, right? Anyway,
that's wild.
Sorry.
Okay, no, but I remember driving in the car, freezing, being so cold because maybe we wouldn't put the heater on for gas, and you're like, Brynn, you're just imagine. Really, I'm sorry, Bryce. You're like Brynn, and you're manly 8-year-old ways.
I wasn't that. I was just like Brynn, like I was
yes,
like a little.
You're the
anyway,
sweetest.
Go ahead though.
Cut to a picture of us as kids with our little froze. It's so cute. But you were like, just close your eyes and just think of it really, really warm, and think actually you're so hot that you can't feel the cold. And I remember then I did it, and I was like, no, I'm not cold. I'm really hot. It's so warm in here. I'm like sweating. It's so hot. To this day, if I'm walking in New York, like I was earlier, and it's like freezing, and I'm like, I feel like I'm getting my face ripped off, I literally think like, and it's like I'm cold. I just think, no, I'm not. I'm warm. It is so warm outside, and I literally feel warm. Yeah. So I think you taught me manifestation as a child.
I just think I told you
between your speech impediment.
I always think it's cool when you or anyone else tell me stuff that you remember that I said. But I do remember too. Like I thought about this. I think I told you. I mean, my whole life has literally been about trying to get people to be positive. Like think about it. Like with our trial and shit. I thought you were gonna bring up that one when I was like.
Oh, a quarter penny for good luck. No.
Yeah, like all this shit though. Like I just think I think generally like I've always felt like I'm a really lucky person, and we've had a lot of shitty stuff happen to us. But yeah, I don't see how it helps to like think negatively in life.
Yeah, no, you're very positive.
And by the way, thank God, because that's not something I control, right? But I'm just glad that think that way, because it would suck to, and we've talked about it before. It sucks to constantly think everything's shit. And I can't imagine people who have to go through that.
Yeah.
And anytime I can step into their shoes, when I have a intrusive thought that won't leave me for 10 seconds, I told you this before, I'm like, how the hell do people deal with that? And I don't do anything to control that. I just don't have them.
Yeah.
That's
I
the
think
only
you're very
difference.
empathetic with like people that might
Because
have.
I know how hard it has to be insane.
Yeah. I think if anything, we had a pact in the sense like maybe it was like a one way where you just were always like, you're going to like take care of me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think...
Because I remember I get made fun of for my beaver buck teeth or my hair at school, and you would like galvanize your friends and like make sure that
just
everyone was always...
No one screws with people I care about.
Yeah.
And I think when I was young, I was the leader of the pack.
And you were very protective of me, always.
Yeah, so I
and then,
think-
too, it's like I was a little bit of a tomboy,
Yeah.
believe it or not. Like,
And we told
thank God
like,
Grandma never took pictures.
we had
'cause I would
Grandma,
burn
but
those.
Grandma, she was older and she was Grandma, and she was born in 1939. So I told you, I think we kind of created our own little society. Grandma would go to work. We'd be alone when we were super young, like hiding when people knocked on the door, right? Because Grandma was like, they're going to take you
like
away.
4 years old.
Yeah, no, I think that we kind of created our own humor and our own perspective, and that's consequently we have a really easy way of communicating with each other. We got shit that we're not good at either, right?
For sure.
And shit we need to work on, and that's what I want people to know about you. But then additionally, it's difficult, I think, because you never know. It plays games with you. You never know how you're being perceived. And then, of course, like the one thing you don't want to do, like I'm sitting here already and I'm thinking about like this idea of, when you said the cast member that I most, and I'm like, I'm not, but I don't mean that. You know what I mean? Like everyone is fine in my book. I
think we have to give ourselves grace. We have to give other people grace. I think everyone's trying to figure it out. I think being thrown into this thing is so crazy, and everyone's at different points in their lives. And you know what I always think as well is that, like, I always say, I'm like, oh, I would never do this if I had kids or a husband. I'm just like not doing anything else. I'm like, these people are risking that level is something I don't deal with, right? While I consider and be like, poor me, after you all yell at me at an all cast, I go home and sit by myself, and that's hard. Like, have a little grace. At the same time, you've taught me since we were little, since back in the car, but you've taught me and kept reminding me, especially this season, is just the importance of being positive, even when you don't feel positive, even when you don't see positivity around you, but to always try to remember that, like, being positive is like the first step of getting to there, like just acknowledging that it's there, and you don't have to necessarily feel it at that moment, and that it too will pass. You told me a lot of times, it's like Grandma when we were little. Remember, I would get a cut or fall off my bike, and she would say, "Don't worry, it will be healed by the time you get married." Maybe that's why I'm so messed up, because everything I'd get like fail something or strike out in softball, and she'd be like, you won't feel this, but by the day you get married, you won't even remember this. So now I think I'm still not married. Maybe I'm remembering it all.
It'll be fine by the time
But
you're
it's all about, but you told me that too. You're like, just stay positive throughout this whole process. And it's going to go over, it's going to blow over, and something else will happen, or another show will launch, and people will move on, and da-da-da-da. And you're right, and it did. And I feel completely different than how I felt a few months ago.
It's never as bad or good as it seems in life.
It's never as bad as good as it seems.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day, you told me when I was Giddy and I'd put the pictures with the ring up and everything. I remember I was like not telling people that I called off the engagement because I didn't want to deal with. I was like, I put it on Instagram and I told everybody, like my hairstylist, the people I work with, all these people, and I look stupid at this point because everyone loves him. What's not to love?
Right.
And I remember after ranting for 8 hours, I remember sitting in my car, I was parked in LA. You said to me, you go, I love you, but no offense, you're not Kim Kardashian. You go, no.
Well, first of all, time out. I did not say you're not Kim Kardashian.
Yes, you did. Yes, you
Bullshit,
did.
because I don't know those. I certainly did not know who she was.
You said, no offense, you're literally not important. You're like, no one is thinking about you. And I tell it, no one is thinking about you to the extent that you think that they are.
Bingo,
they're like, maybe you'll take it down, like, oh, Brynn and Gideon broke up. But you're like, but then they're going on to their next stuff. And you reminded me of that this year too. Of while it stings for a minute, it's not anything further than that initial little sting is just me and my anxiety and keeping it at forefront. Whereas, like, no offense, but like people aren't thinking about me horribly all the time.
The more you can, I believe, like I said, I believe people overcomplicate their reality. I told you that recently. They create complication, in spots where I don't think it is super complicated. It can be in business decisions, it can be in life and personal decisions. But again, I also just think, and I tell you all the time now, whenever you're talking about X, Y, or Z, and you're talking about something in the past that was negative, I don't do it in like an aggressive way, but I keep telling you, but now you've solved it and
Yeah, you do all the
continue.
time. You're like, yeah, okay. Thank you again for coming on the pod.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I love you very much. And yeah, onward and upward.